Okay, take a look at numbers 1 and 2. So there are 4 ways for you to solve systems. The first way is elimination, substitution, and then the last way is graphing. So if you were looking at number 1, here's how elimination works in case you don't remember. Okay, we are going to times the whole bottom row by 3. Here's why. If we times the bottom row by 3, this is a negative 9y. What will the bottom be if it's already a 3y and I times it by 3? It'll be a positive 9y. And then negative 9y and positive 9y are going to cross out. So look at the first one. I'll do it with you. This is elimination that we're doing right now. Okay, the top row is going to stay the same. 3x minus 9y equals 36. But then the bottom row, I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to multiply each of the numbers by 3. So my x is now a 3x. My 3y is now a 9y. And then my 18 times 3 is now a 54. Okay, from here we're going to combine each row. What is 3x and 3x? 6x. Then 9y and negative 9y crosses out. And then what is 36 and 54 if we put it together? 90. Good. And from there, what do I do with the 6? Divide. And 90 divided by 6 gives me x equals 15. Now, that's your first number. Then you have to go back and find the second number. So I'm going to do it on the bottom one, but you could do either one and it would be fine. So if I come back to right here, I'd have 15 plus 3y equals 18. Oops. 15 plus 3y equals 18. And then from there, if it's a plus 15, I'm going to minus 15 off both sides. What's 18 take away 15? That'd be 3 left over, right? And then I'd divide by 3 on both sides and get what? I'd get 1. Okay? So you would find your first letter, go back and plug it in, thank you, and then find your second letter. Okay? Now, number 2, look at it. Okay, this one you're going to have to multiply both of the rows. So on the top, I want to remember that 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6, 6 is smaller, so I'm going to times the top row by 2 so that I can turn that into a plus 6y. And then on the bottom row, if it's a minus 2, I'm going to times it by 3 so that I can turn that into a negative 6y. So remember, you have to try to pick numbers so that you'll get the same opposite number top and bottom. Okay, so look at your top row. If I times all of them by 2, what's my top row now? 2x is now a 4x. 3y is now a 6y. And then 0, if I times it by anything, that just stays a 0. Okay, on the bottom we're timesing by 3. So it was a 5. 5 times 3 is 15x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6y. And then negative 19 times 3 gives me negative 57. So that would be my last one right here. Then from there, I want to add up each of the columns. So 4 and 15 gives me how many? 19x. Negative 6m plus 6 crosses out. And then negative 57 and 0 stays at 57. Then from there, I'd take negative 57 and do what with the 19? I would have to do what? Divide it. So divide by 19, divide by 19. In your calculator, you can do that. X is negative 3. Good. Then you would go back and find y, whatever that would have to be. So let's say I want to plug into the top equation. Now remember, you want to use the original equations because they have smaller numbers, not the new equations that I made over here. So if I come back here, that would be 2x is now 2 times negative 3 plus 3y is 0. And then what is 2 times negative 3 here? That's really a what? Negative 6 plus 3y. And so if I want to solve and get rid of a minus 6, I'd have to do what? Yeah, plus 6 and plus 6. 0 plus 6 gives me 3y equals 6. Then divide by 3 on both sides. Y has to be what? 2. So remember that each time you're finding an x and a y, it doesn't matter which one you find first, you'll just go back and find the other one. Okay, look down at number 4 for me, please. Okay, this one, do you notice that neither a 3 or 4 is like lined up for elimination? Okay, so we're going to solve these by substitution. Okay, for these two. Okay, so here's how substitution works. You're going to pick which equation's already solved, so top or bottom here. Bottom, x equals y plus 8. And then I'm going to plug that into the second equation, which is 2y minus x is 2. Remember that what happens is I circle the y plus 8 side, and then you replace the letter that was by itself. So if this is an x equals, I'm going to plug it in here where the x is. So instead of 2y minus x, now it's 2y minus y plus 8. And then notice that those parentheses do have to be there because the negative counts as a negative 1. So you're going to have to distribute that into the parentheses. So this is a negative 1 times y would be a what? Negative 1y. And then negative 1 times 8 is minus 8. Okay, legend, come sit. Okay, then what's 2y minus a y off of that? That would be y left over. And then if that's a y minus 8, what would I do from there?
Plus 8.
Okay, good. Plus 8 on both sides. Y would have to be what? 10. Then from there, I have one of my letters. I still have to go back and find the other letter. So once I know that y is 10, remember you're going to come back and plug it into that first equation that you used. So if y is a 10, what is y plus 8? 18, that would be your x. So plus 8, y is 10. Then we would come over here and say, okay, then x equals 10 plus 8, x is 18. Okay. There's one question on your exam that has a substitution problem, but it has 3 variables. We didn't cover that because it makes more sense to do it by matrices, which is with matrix, right? Okay, but instead of just having you solve it, they ask you to check this girl's work to see if she makes a mistake. So we're going to work through one of them. It's basically the same as this, okay, but it's just you have 3 equations instead of only 1. So look at the next one. We're going to do it by hand, but you could do this in matrices or in the matrix thing in your calculator and it'd be way easier. But they actually ask you to check her work as you go. So here's what you would do. I'm going to start with the top equation. 2z is 4y. What does that mean that z equals? Because it has to be a sub-equation. What would I do with the 2 in the front? Divide. What does z equal? 2y. Okay? Now go to the next equation. It says 3y plus 2z equals 14. Okay, thanks. And then circle the 2y. And then what letter are you replacing? What is 2y equal to? Z. So you're going to circle it. You're going to plug it in where the z is. So 2y, bloop, right here. Now it's 3y plus 2y equals 14. So far, so good? Okay, what's 2 times 2y? And what is 3y plus 4y? Can we just put it all together? 7y. Divide by 7 on both sides. What does y have to be? 2. Okay? Now, if I know that y is 2, can I come back here and plug that in? What is z equal? 2y. Well, then z is now 2 times 2, which means z is 4. So far, so good? After you find the first 2 letters, you have one more equation. You just have to go back and find a third letter. So it's not really any harder than what we were already doing. You just have one extra step. So now come back to here. We know that x plus y plus z has to be 8. Well, then now I know that x I don't know, but y is a 2, z is a 4. Well, then I can find 8 from there. So I would do 2 plus 4 is how many? Combine those guys. So really that's x plus 6 is 8. Then I just minus 6 off both sides. Your last letter would be 2. So if it has 3 equations, you're still doing substitution. It just has a couple extra little steps, but it's the same basic thing. Got it? Okay, if you had a system of equations where one of them is an x squared, you can solve this using substitution, but you'd have to factor. Now remember, you're taking a test with a graphing calculator. So the easiest way to solve it is not by substitution, it'd be by graphing. So all that you need to do is get them both in y equals form, type them into the calculator, and then look for where they cross. Now, could you do it by hand? Absolutely. If you'd like me to show you that, I will. But for now, we're just going to do them by graphing because it's easier. So look at both of your equations. The top one is already good to go. It is in y equals form. The bottom one is not, but I can fix it. What would I need to move to put this in y equals form? Okay, the 12x. It's a positive 12x. When I move it over, it will be a negative 12x plus 36. Okay, go into y equals in your calculator. Type in y1. Type in y2. So y equals here, we're typing in x squared minus 11x minus 36, and then negative 12x plus 36. Now, if your graph is zoomed funny when you hit graph, if you hit zoom here and then standard, which is number 6, it'll fix your graph. Some of them are probably weird from when we were doing all the zooming. Okay, and so when I do that, I can't see my graph so good, so I'm going to zoom out. So I'm going to push zoom here, go down to out, and then push enter, and it'll zoom it out for you. You should see a U and then a line that's cutting through the U. Okay, so here's my U right here. Here's my line crossing through it. Do we remember how to find where those cross? You're going to hit second trace, and then which one says that they're going to cross? Intersect, option 5. Good. So I'm going to push 5, and then I'm going to push enter, 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 and it'll tell you the first place that they cross. Okay, so one more time, I'm going to hit second trace. Then I'm going to push option 5, which says intersect. And then enter, enter, enter. And you have to go kind of slow because your calculators are like pretty old. Okay, and it gives you the first place that they cross. Now, if it's a U crossed by a line, how many times are they going to cross? Are they going to only cross once? No, they're going to cross twice. So hit second, trace, enter on 5. Second, trace, enter on 5. And then instead of being over here by 8, I'm going to guess that they cross at negative 2. So I'm going to scroll my X back to be at, like, you see my little dot? I'm going to come back over kind of to the other side. Okay, and I get negative 9. Those are the 2 places where they cross. Now, if you don't like that, you can also use the table, okay, which some of you might think is easier, so I'll show you that method as well. If you hit second table, you're welcome. Okay, and you just scroll until they match. Okay, do you see right here that they're both 60? Okay, that's one of the intersections. And then if I scroll the other way, so right down to 8, negative 60, that's my first point. And then I would scroll up the other way, Okay, they also cross here. See where the 144s match? So at negative 9, 144. Okay? Okay, so let's do the other one just to get it done because you have to finish the ones we don't finish together. So look at the next example. Neither one of them are ready to go in the calculator, but they're both easy fixes. What would I have to do to this top one? Okay, good. I'm going to have to take the 6. I'm going to have to minus it across to the other side. So it'll be y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, that's check. Ready to go in the calculator. Then my other one is a y plus x. What would I have to fix on it? Plus x has to go to the other side. Now it's a negative x plus 5. And that's check. Ready to go in the calculator. Okay, then you're going to type both of those into your y equals. You can either do the second trace method or you can do the graphing method. Doesn't matter to me which one you like better. Okay, so I'm typing both my calculator equations into y equals. Then I'm going to hit graph and I'm going to look for where they cross on the picture. Remember, if you can't see it, you can zoom, and that on your exam I can help you with. If your calculator zoomed weird, I could help you fix that. Okay, so I hit graph. Remember, mine is zoomed out. There's my U. There's my line. Okay, this one I could probably see if I zoom back in. So I'm going to hit zoom, and I'm going to go to standard option 6. Because I don't need it to be that zoomed out because my numbers aren't that big. So there's my graph. There's my line. How many times do they cross each other? Twice. So I would hit second trace, option 5, and then remember I just push enter, enter, enter. So first curve, enter. Second curve, enter. Do I want to guess? Enter. And the first point's 1, 4. So write down 1, 4 on your paper. That's the first place where they cross. The second place where they cross, I'd hit second trace, option 5. And then I'm going to move my little cursor over to the other place where they cross. So my cursor, I don't know if you can tell, but it's blinking right there. And then enter, enter, enter. Go kind of slow. Your calculator's old. Okay, 4, 1 is the other point. Okay? But if you like the table method better, that's fine. You would just go into your table and scroll until you see numbers that match. So hopefully you can see here, what are my values at 1, 4, and 4? They match. That's one of the solutions. Then if I come down at 4, what are my y values? 1 and 1. So you can find them in the table, look for the y's match, or you can find them in the graph by looking for where the lines intersect. Okay? But remember that if one of them is a curve and the other one's a line, they're going to cross twice. Okay? Go ahead and turn the page, please. Okay, all the rest of these you're going to solve with matrices because it's easier. Okay, and your semester exam, you can solve them however you want. So let's look at number 9. Read through it, set up an equation. We're going to let G be gasoline. Gallons of gasoline, we're going to get Q to be quarts. Okay, so set up your equations and then we'll check them here in a minute. Okay, when you're done, look up, see if you got it right. Should be 10 gallons plus 1 quart is 2450. That's your equation. And then your friend's equation is 8 gallons and 2 quarts is 22. Okay, the way that you solve it is you're going to push second matrix, and then you're going to go to edit. I know we haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to just teach you the RREF way instead of the inverse way. If you remember that way and like it better, you can do it either way. Okay, but I'll show you how to do it the RREF way just to review. So I'm pushing second matrix. I'm going over to edit. And the first thing you have to do is type in the size. Remember that it's how many rows, then how many columns. So what would my size be if I have this as my matrix? 2 by 3. Because it's 2 down and then 3 across. And then remember, when you type it into your calculator, you're only putting the numbers in. So my top row, I would do 2 by 3 up here. And I'm going to do 10, 1, 24.50. 10, 1, and then 24.50. Then my bottom row would be 8, 2, and then he spent 22. Got it to there? Okay, you're going to push second quit to get out of your matrix. Okay, let me write that down here. So you're going to push second quit. And then you're going to push second matrix again. Once you're out of it, second matrix, and you're going to go to math in the middle and scroll down to RREF. Okay, so second matrix, math, and then you're going to go down to RREF. There have to be 2 R's. If you do only 1 R, it's going to be wrong. So I'm going to scroll down here till I get to RREF. Okay, there it is right there. And then remember that after I push it, I have to type A into it. So I hit second matrix, and then I pick A, the one I just made. And then when you push enter, remember the answers are the last column. So my G is 225, my Q is 2. So my G is 225, and my quart is 2. And then put matrix A into RREF like that. Okay? Now we'll do a couple of these to make sure that you got it. Okay, but I do think that it would be better for you to actually type them in versus just watching me do them. So why don't you try number 8 right above it. Okay, make sure that we got the idea. We're selling pretzels and popcorn. Let's let pretzels be X, popcorn be Y, since they both start with P. So pretzels will be X, popcorn will be Y. So it says it's $2.50 for a bag of popcorn. So that's going to be $2.50Y. And then it says $2 for a pretzel, so 2X. Notice they gave them to you kind of out of order on that one. Okay, and then it says that they collected $336. Now, the second equation that they give you is a little messed up, so let's look at it. It says they sell twice as many bags of popcorn as pretzels. So if my popcorn is double my pretzels, that means that Y is double X. That is not going to work, yes? You sure? Okay. So if your popcorn is twice your pretzels, here's the problem. That's not going to fit into my matrix right. Remember, X and Y have to be on the same side. So if I'm going to slide my 2X over to this side, what will I put here to line it up? Not a positive 2X, but a negative 2X plus Y. And if nothing is left on this side when I move the 2X over, what will I put in that spot in my matrix? A 0. So if they give it to you scrambled, then you might have to move some things around to make it work out. Now, if my Y here is alone, what will I put in my matrix in that spot? What number? A 1. Good. Okay, so type in that matrix and then solve it. Okay, and you can follow all these steps right here if you need help with that. Or you can ask me for help, but I'll do it up here for you. So stat, enter. Oops, wrong one. Second matrix, go to edit. And then you're going to have to type in your new matrix. 2 by 3 is still the size. And then remember, you have to get out of the matrix, hit second matrix, go to math. So second matrix, go to math, and then go down to RREF. And then type in A. And remember that last column, those are your 2 answers. And remember, it's going to give you the answers in the order that they were in the equation. So if X came first, the top number is my X. If Y came second, the second number is my Y. Okay? So it would be 48 and 96. X is 48. Y is 96. Which means that pretzels are $48, or I'm sorry, 48 things, and then 96 bags of popcorn. Okay? Okay, come down please to number 11. Okay? Number 11. So it says, in 2013, the women's NCAA basketball game, UConn won by scoring 2 points, 3 points, and free throws. X is going to be 2 points. Y is going to be 3 points. Z is going to be free throws. Okay, number 1 says, the number of 2-point baskets, what letter is that? X, Y, or Z? 2-point baskets. Okay, that's X. So X is 12 more than, so we'll do 12 plus, 12 more than the number of free throws. What letter is that? Z. Now, that's not in order. So I'm going to have to bring my Z over to the other side. He's on the wrong side. And when my Z moves over, what is its thing going to be? Instead of a plus Z, it'll be a negative Z. So I'm going to have X minus Z equals 12. Okay, let's do our second equation. It says the number of free throws, what letter is that? Z, is 3 less than the number of 3 points. What are my 3 points? What letter? Y, and then I want 3 less than that, so minus 3. So if it's Z equals Y minus 3, who's on the wrong side now? Y. And if Y was over there, when it moves over, now it'll be what? A negative Y plus Z, negative 3. Then for my last one, it says they won with a score of 93. Well, 93 would be all of the 3 types of baskets added together. So it would be all of their X's, all of their Y's, all of their Z's equals 93. Now, how do we know it's 93 and not 60? Well, it said that they won, right? So 60 is totally extra info that we don't need. Now, in order for me to make a matrix, I have to make sure that everything is lined up. Any missing spots, I'm going to have to type in a 0 for. So for my top row, I have 1X and how many Y's? 0 Y's. And then a minus 1Z equals 12. Then I go to my second row. What letter is missing? 0 X's, negative 1 Y, 1 Z, negative 3. Then for my bottom row, I had 1 of each. So it'd be 1 X, 1 Y, 1 Z, 93. Now, when I type this matrix in, what will its size be? It's a 3 by 4. So it'll be a 3 by 4 in your calculator. And you'll have to type that in first to be able to put your numbers in. Okay? If you need help with solving that, raise your hand. I'm happy to come help. top row that we have here. So it'd be 1, 0, -1, and then 12. Okay, and then you should have gotten all whole numbers on it. What's my first number? 38, then 29, then 26. So it'd be 38, 29, 26. And you just want to kind of keep them in order because the top number will be the first letter, etc. Okay? Alright, turn the page. Let's see if we can do one more together and then you'll have the rest of class to finish. Let's do 12. Okay, it says the National Golf Club in Georgia has an 18-hole golf course that consists of par 3, par 4, and par 5. So X is par 3, Y is par 4, Z is par 5. It says a golfer who shots par has a total of 72 strokes for the entire course. So if you don't know anything about golf, that's how many strokes it takes you to get the ball in the hole. So if it's a 3-hole course, how many shots did it take him? 3x. Plus, then if he shot par on the Y's, how many strokes would it have taken him if he got exactly the right number? It'd be 4y. And then if he shot par on the 5 pars, it would have taken him 5 shots. Equals 72. So it's 3 for each 3 par, 4 for each 4 par, 5 for each 5 par. Okay, then it says there are 2 more par y, 4 is y, then twice the number of par 5, that's z. So let's write an equation for that. There are 2 more y's, then twice the number of z's. So I would say y equals 2 more than what? 2 more than twice the z's. Now, is that already in order that I can put it in my matrix? No, 2 z's on the wrong side. So when I move it over to the other side, what's its sign going to be? Okay, now I'm going to make sure to line it up this time underneath the 2z column so that I don't have to rewrite the whole thing. My 2 is going to get to stay over here. My plus 1y is going to stay here. Now, that particular equation didn't have any x's. What will I put for my x's? 0x. And I'm going to just fill in the holes so I don't have to rewrite the whole thing. Okay, next one, equation 3. The number of par 3s, that's x, is equal to the number of par 5s. Well, that's z. So if x and z are equal, that's not lined up right. Z is on the wrong side. So when I move it over, what will the sign be on z? So a positive 1x, a minus on the z, and then if nothing's left over here, what number would I leave there? 0. Now, what letter was missing in the bottom row? So it'd be a 0y. And then from there, you would RF it in your calculator. Okay? So you should already have your matrix in the right size. Okay, when I typed it in, I got 410.4. See if that's what you get. Is that what you got? No, crap. Maybe I typed one in wrong. Second matrix, edit. Top row was 3, 4, 5, 72. 0, 1, negative 2, 2. And then 1, 0, negative 1. And then 0.
I got 4, 10.
Yeah. That's what I got. Make sure you have a negative on that last one down there. Is that it? Okay, last thing, you're going to set up, these are inequalities. The reason they're inequalities is because instead of being an equals, it's a less than or greater than. So look at number 13. Says Bill's doing a fundraiser for soccer. He needs to sell at least $100 worth of items. Candy bars are $2 each. Shirts are $10 each. He must sell more than 4 candy bars. Okay, so let's think about how much is each candy bar? So 2C plus, how much is each shirt? 10S. Now, it doesn't say he sold exactly 100. It says he needs at least 100. Do I want him to be more than 100 or less than 100? More than. Now, I'd pick more than or equal to, because if it's at least, that means 100 or more. Okay, then at the bottom it says he must sell more than 4 candy bars. Then C needs to be greater than 4. Now, if it's more than 4, do I put an equal to on it? No. Okay, I'll do 14 with you, then you'll do 15 on your own. Okay, it says Annie has at least $1,000 in savings. Her savings balance is 2 times greater than her checking balance. Okay, let's start with her savings and her checking together. Oh, wait, hold on. She has at least $9,000 in savings. Okay, so then what would we do with her savings? It would have to be at least $9,000. And remember, at least, even though the word least is in it, it actually means greater than. Okay, if she has at least that, she has that or more. Okay, then it says her savings balance is 2 times greater. So her savings is 2 times greater than her checking. Now, notice this says is 2 times greater. That's an equal sign. So that one you have one of each. Okay, last one, go down to 15. Try to set that one up. Let's use S for small pumpkins, L for large pumpkins. What would my first equation be? How much are the small pumpkins? 250S plus, how much are the large pumpkins? 6L. Okay, and then it says he can spend no more than $90. Does he want to spend greater than 90 or less than 90? If it says no more than, he has to stay less than 90. Now, could he spend exactly 90? Yeah, because it says not more than. So he could spend exactly 90. Then it says he needs at least 20 pumpkins. Well, then the small plus large, if it's at least, that means he wants 20 or more. So I'd put greater than or equal to 20. Make sense? Okay, so you don't have a ton of extra time. You have about 10 minutes. If you need to finish yesterday's packet, okay, make sure, I'm going to type in day 1 and day 2 so that you can see where your grade is at. If you have zeros, they're on test grades. Okay, so if you have packet 1 or packet 2, okay, then make sure that you show those to me so that I can type in good grades for you.